Get one of these out. And you cut your pattern off, the one you want to do. This is one way of putting your pattern on steel. I use a special etching double-sided carbon paper rather, to get the pattern started with. Then using what they call a drafting tape. It's like masking tape, but it doesn't stick as tight, so that you can put it over pictures and such and take it off without tearing the picture. I tape the carbon here, take the picture I want to get onto it, place where I want it on the carbon. A little piece of tape to hold it in place, and you can use just about anything. What I use is a very small knitting needle. A lot of people use a ballpoint pen that's run out of ink. As I said, just getting the rough outline onto the carbon paper, and the detail work will come later. I've reached the point now. I cleaned up a piece of brass here. Normally I clean it up a little better for brass, but this will be okay for demonstrations. And we're going to put the eagle we drew on the carbon onto the brass with it's an electric etching machine. It uses a mild chemical and electricity to put the pattern into the metal. First thing we do is trim off the excess carbon paper. Then, using just regular 3M Scotch tape, we tape it to the piece of metal to hold it in place, to hold the pattern in place. We want to make sure all of the metal's covered so the etching compound will not get on the rest of the metal. Then we clip our leads in.
What are you clipping that to?
Clipping that to the piece of brass. Turn on the etching machine. It uses both AC and DC. We start with DC. This is the chemical we'll be using as the other part of the contact. Put it on the felt pad. Make sure it's good coverage. I always blot a little bit out. Machine's on except for the final stage, and what we do now is I press the pad onto the pattern, hold it there for a few seconds, release it, put it back on for a few seconds, and then switch to the AC current because we start with DC. And you see I'm getting a good contact when the meter moves. This just puts the etch in on the DC. On the AC, it darkens it up so you can see it.
What kind of voltage is flowing through there?
I have no idea. It's very mild. take everything loose. Then we use a cleaner. What this does, it neutralizes the little bit of etching material that's there so that it doesn't etch any more of the metal. And I do it this way if I can to get the main pattern on, because normally, excuse my reach, use two other ways. You can draw it on. Both ways are drawing on. One's with a just a magic marker type pen, and the other one is just a lead pencil. And the problem with that is that while you're working with it, it can be erased off, as you can see, where the etch can't. And when I cut the pattern, when I start cutting it, it'll remove all of the etch so you can't see it.
All right.
And the fine detail work, as I said, this is the main outline of the animal. And the fine detail work I will put in after I do the main cuts. Okay, this is a different way of doing it. The pattern's been drawn on with the ink pen. And then, to keep from smearing it, I've sprayed it with a semi-gloss Virathane so that it can't be rubbed off while I'm cutting it. So, just two different ways of doing the same thing. Okay, the next step is we clamp the piece we're working on into it's called a ball vise, or an engraver's ball. And you can open or close it from either side. And it's designed to hold, you have various tools, clamps you can use in here to hold different shaped objects. And, obviously I put the wrong one. There we go. Then, to get started, you just position where you want to go. Lay your graver chisel on the line. On brass, you don't want to go too deep. So just a gentle tap, and then tilt it down and gently tap the end of the holder. And swivel, you can either swivel your hand or turn the vise to follow your lines.